To me, what was most surprising about the Democrat debate last night wasn't that Elizabeth Warren came out punching against Michael Bloomberg, but how unprepared he seemed from the get-go.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Well, Bloomberg's instinct then was to just ignore Elizabeth Warren, speak in general terms, and when all else failed, just recite his resume.
I'm a New Yorker. I know how to take on an arrogant con man like Donald Trump that comes from New York. I'm a mayor, or was a mayor. I know how to run a complicated city, the biggest, most diverse city in this country.
Oh, but Warren was circling him like a turkey vulture over a wounded fawn.
He has gotten some number of women, dozens, who knows, to sign non-disclosure agreements, both for sexual harassment and for gender discrimination in the workplace. So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
Well, you would think with all that dough he shelled out for campaign talent, that Bloomberg would be ready with a sharp response to those obvious points she was going to raise, right? Well,
none of them accused me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke.
When you say they signed them and they wanted them, if they wish now to speak out and tell their side of the story about what it is they allege, that's now okay with you?
They wanted to keep it quiet for everybody's interest.
Are the women bound by being muzzled by you?
They were made consensually, and they have every right to expect that they will stay private.
If they want to release it.
Oh, boy. Zero emotion. Isn't that weird? Kind of zero connection, and in the end, zero credibility. On stage, he has neither the raw political skill or the raw instinct of Trump, or Bernie for that matter. Now, Bernie, I have to give him credit. He knows his base, and his base wants massive wealth redistribution.
We have a grotesque and immoral distribution of wealth and income. Mike Bloomberg owns more wealth than the bottom 125 million Americans. That's wrong. That's immoral.
Mayor Bloomberg, should you exist?
I can't speak for all billionaires. All I know is I've been very lucky, made a lot of money, and I'm giving it all away to make this country better. And a good chunk of it goes to the Democratic Party as well.
Is it too much? Have you earned too much money? Has it been an obscene amount of money? Should you have earned that much money?
Yes. I worked very hard for it, and I'm giving it away.
Can you believe that question, first of all? Should you have earned that much? Well, Bloomberg's best effort, I think, at defending capitalism actually came later in the debate when Bernie went in for the kill.
Mr. Bloomberg, it wasn't you who made all that money. Maybe your workers played some role in that as well. And it is important that those workers are able to share the benefits. I want workers to be able to sit on corporate boards as well, so they can have some say over what happens to their lives.
Mayor Bloomberg, you own a large company. Would you support what Senator Sanders is proposing?
Absolutely not. I can't think of ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation. It's ridiculous. We're not going to throw out capitalism. We tried that. Other countries tried that. It was called communism, and it just didn't work.
Well, neither did your performance, frankly. It was too little, too late. Bloomberg has gone through life, I think, thinking that he who pays the piper calls the tune, that rich folks have real power, and the rest of us, they just have to do what the rich people say. But both Trump and Bernie, they understand power better than Bloomberg does. They know that you can also achieve power by having a strong message and taking that message right to the voters. But for years, Bloomberg ignored the many signs that GOP voters were fed up with the type of people who ran our party, and they wanted to go in a more populist direction. And of course, the populists eventually took over the Republican Party, and then Bloomberg became a Democrat. But meanwhile, the left has spent decades teaching folks that America is an evil country, that capitalism is evil, that rich people like Bloomberg are evil, even if he gives away his money, and that we will all die soon due to an immediate climate emergency. So now Bloomberg finds himself trapped. He's trapped in a party where virtually everyone who actually cares about the issues wants to nominate a socialist, even if that risks losing it all to Trump. So what's happening to Bloomberg should be a lesson to anyone who cares about capitalism. If the voters don't trust the free market system, they'll try to abolish it. And slick campaigns and a lot of money that you spend on consultants won't be sufficient to change their minds. Last night's debate showed that Trump is the last best hope for capitalism because he supports a market system, but also understands the importance of making sure that American workers benefit from that system. But it's too late for someone like Bloomberg to parachute in and tell everyone, sit down and shut up. Let me run the show. And that's the angle.